Hello and welcome to this course. As we're getting started here, this course is the characteristics and identification of emotional and behavioral disorders, and we're super excited that you are joining us. So yeah, let's talk about this course a little bit. So welcome. Again, this is SPD 550, Characteristics and Identification of Behavioral and Emotional Disorders. As I said, I'm super excited that you've chosen to participate in this course and possibly pursue this graduate level education endorsement of a behavior intervention specialist, if that is if that's the direction you are going. As we show, hopefully, we'll show this week and throughout this course, this is obviously really extremely important work, and we definitely need educators who are willing and able to advocate for and support students with emotional behavioral disorders, and to support the adults who serve students with emotional behavioral disorders. So again, thank you for joining us, and hopefully this will be a beneficial experience for all of us. So a bit about me. My name is Scott Ekman. I am currently a regional lead for an organization called Nebraska MTSS, or Multi-Tiered Systems of Support, and I also coordinate our efforts around positive behavioral interventions and support, or PBIS. This is my 21st year in education. Let's see, I spent my first year teaching at an elementary school, and then at a middle school before I went and became a behavioral coach at a middle school. I then went to as a building administrator at an elementary school, and then moved to the district office and spent 10 years as a supervisor in special education and kind of the direct lead for our implementation of PBIS across the district. After that, I then moved to the state level and started working for the Nebraska MTSS organization. I am, let's see, from Lincoln, and have lived in Lincoln all my life. My wife is a second grade teacher in Lincoln as well. We have two daughters, Ellie and Harper. Ellie is finishing up her freshman year of high school, and Harper is finishing her second grade year. So very have a lot of things going on that keep us busy, and that's always a good thing. We're volleyball and things of that nature, but overall we're doing pretty good with all those activities. So a unique fact that I share sometimes about me is that I actually have about 26 educators in my extended family. So it gets a little ridiculous, but my wife and her parents, my parents, my brother, my sister, both of their spouses, a couple of cousins and then their spouses, my uncle, my aunt. It goes on and on and on and on. But that's a unique kind of thing about me and my family, and hopefully I'll get to know about you as we go on. And that leads us to our first assignment. So what we want you to do is use the introduction discussion post in Canva to talk to us a little bit about you. So tell us about yourself, your name, your current role, your work experience, who are the students that you serve, and then maybe what's one thing that's unique about you. And then lastly, why are you pursuing this endorsement, or why have you chosen this course? So if you could include this information in a post coming up, the initial post from you is due Wednesday of this week. And then what I ask is that you respond to at least 2 classmates by Sunday of this week. And that will be kind of the structure and format of all of our discussion posts, with initial posts by Wednesday of the week, and then at least 2 responses to classmates by Sunday. So I can't wait to hear and read more about who we have here and the amazing work that you're already doing. As we continue on, I wanted to just go through some of these things to make sure that we're all on the same page. First of all, again, I mentioned that this is a course that's part of an overall program, and I wanted to review those learning objectives of the program as a whole. First of all, one objective is to analyze policies, principles, and theories that promote the continuous improvement of special education programs, supports, and services at the classroom, school, and system level. We'll then hopefully be able to evaluate best practices related specifically to identification and assessment of students with behavioral and emotional disorders. And lastly, collaborate with stakeholders of the school community to advocate for effective policies and evidence-based practices that support the success of individuals with disabilities and their families. So within that program, we also have this specific course, again, characteristics and identification of emotional and behavioral disorders, and we have 3 learning objectives for this course. First is to differentiate the causes and characteristics of behavior disorders, emotional disorders, pervasive developmental disorders, learning disabilities, and severe emotional disturbances. Analyze applicable laws, policies, principles, and evidence-based practices and theories that guide the identification process, and then develop a professional development presentation that examines linguistic, cultural, social, and economic diversity, trauma-informed practice, and individual learner difference considerations in the identification process. And we're going to talk about that particular objective when we get to conversations around our final assignment for this course. A few other things just to note. We will be utilizing a textbook. This is kind of one of the predominant textbooks in this field from James Kaufman and Timothy Landrum. So throughout this course, we're going to cover many topics specific to students with emotional behavioral disorders, and I feel like this book will really help us help guide us with some of the facilitation of conversations and so forth. So this is the 11th edition of this book. There's a lot of different places you can get it. I specifically have the e-book edition, and I'm hopeful that that won't impact some of the page numbers or anything like that, but we'll kind of see how that plays out. But it's a really good resource to have, and I think hopefully you'll find it beneficial. Along with the textbook, we're also going to be using a lot of other resources, including some videos that I'm going to ask you to watch. There's quite a bit of technical assistance briefs or journal articles, excuse me. And then we're also even going to use a couple of things like podcasts and any other resources to help facilitate our learning and the discussions that we have. Specifically for assignments, this is a pretty fast course, right? So there's 8 weeks. So some of the weekly workload might seem a little heavy. I really tried to make sure that it wasn't a ridiculous amount. So hopefully I accomplished that. But basically for each week or module, we're going to have a combination, some type of combination of discussions and discussion posts where, again, you'll post something and then what we'd like you to do is to respond to at least 2 of your classmates. We also will have a couple of standalone assignments that will come in the following weeks, and then possibly some reflections where you'll write a reflection about a certain topic and submit that directly to me in Canva for feedback. So those will be due on a weekly basis. And then, like I mentioned, we'll also have a final presentation that'll be due at the end of the course. But what our goal is that you'll be able to add to that final presentation throughout the course. And by the time you get to the end, it will be some tweaks that you might do, and then also a recording of your presentation that you can just do through Zoom or a different platform similar to what I'm doing right now. So that'll be throughout the week. That'll be kind of the assignments. We'll also have some required readings, either from the text or from other resources. I mentioned the discussions again. Initial posts due Wednesday, responses due Sunday. The reflections that you will write will be due Sunday of that week, and then I'll do my best to get you feedback on that as soon as possible. And then any other weekly assignments also due Sunday of the week. So hopefully it's pretty straightforward, and like I said, not a ridiculous amount of work, but enough work to make it worthwhile. So I want to end this little quick introduction with a couple of things. I think, again, this is really important work, but it's also challenging work. And that is because we recognize that we have students in our schools and our districts and so forth that exhibit these challenging behaviors, and those challenging behaviors can cause us as adults to kind of act outside our values, I think, as educators sometimes. And I think this quote from the book that you'll see sums it up really well, is that, again, the behavior that happens really challenges us in our response as adults, or even thinking about how we prevent those from happening, because we get to this state where maybe we lose track of what we know really works. So I think this is really important to again have us think about as we continue and start this journey together, is what can we do as adults to best support students, not only students with behavioral and emotional disorders, but all students in our schools. So that's the first quote I want you to consider. And then the next one is from Dr. George Sagai. And I just think that this quote is really why we're here, right? It's that every student and educator has the right to a safe, respectful, effective, and constructive learning environment, and especially those students who are high risk for developing challenging behavior or have histories of such behavior. So as we consider all the different things that we're going to talk about this next 8 weeks, in the back of our minds is, let's remind ourselves maybe why we're here, and that is, again, how do we help really provide that safe and respectful learning environment for kids. So those are two things, that maybe two quotes to consider, and as you get into your discussions this week and your reflections this week, maybe those quotes will pop up in your thinking as you begin to start to think about this stuff. So anyway, thank you again for joining us, for being part of this course. I'm super excited. I will do my best, very, very best, to support you in your learning, but I'm also excited for the opportunity to learn from you, as I know you are doing amazing work already right now in your current role, and that's only going to continue. And so I'm excited to learn from you as we go through this. So thank you again. Reach out if you ever have questions, and we will talk soon. Have a good one.